afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Thursday, November 17th, 2022, after 3 p.m. Eastern. We'll be having a reverse aging health call Friday night tomorrow at 9 p.m. He that sees the self sees the divine. All that you see depends on the seer. Apart from the seer, there is no seen. Sri Raman Rishi. All negative thoughts and feelings are simply the vibration of love under tremendous tension and pressure. Every action we take and every word we speak is an expression of love. Anger, sadness, greed, and guilt are just contracted forms of energy that originally came from love. Yet, we are contorted by the mind. If we look closely, we will find that everything in this universe comes from love. This may be a radical idea to digest and religiously implement in our personal belief system. But yet I invite you to try on these new prescription love glasses for a week or two. The slightest change in one's perspective can dramatically shift everything. Just imagine that from this day forth, every word you hear from another person is felt first by your new love filter. Whenever someone speaks to you with judgment, criticism, resentment, or disgust, you only hear the innocent love that is trying to get through beneath their words. Everyone has a higher self, which is always present somewhere beneath the surface, and is always trying to communicate through to each of us. Once we have the awareness to truly listen from this higher essence, we won't hear negativity anymore. We will just hear the love, see the love is always in there somewhere. If we dive deep enough through a person's words to the root of their energy, we will find that at the very core is an infinite source of love. Just as all the colors of the rainbow stem from pure sunlight, the variety of thoughts, feelings, and experiences we have radiating directly from love. Health is the greatest gift. Happiness is the greatest wealth. Enlightenment is the greatest bliss. Buddha. Health is the greatest gift. Happiness is the greatest wealth. Enlightenment is the greatest bliss. This life is a radical and amazing experience when all that we see, hear, and feel from people is the essence of love. Each moment is an invitation to experience the divine in others, around us, and within ourselves. People who are trapped in only expressing a contracted state of personality are simply uneducated. They just don't know how to dive deeper inside to find their loving center and express from this space in a relaxed and authentic way. The love is already in their hearts, yet it's being expressed through the complaint filter. Their mother, father, or grandfather handed down to them. You drop the filter and you find the love. Look past people's falseness, beyond their games, facades, personalities, peer deeper inside them, focusing on the source where love is springing forth. We will always find love at the innermost core. The miracle is that by seeing it, we automatically ignite their awareness to seeing it as well. This chain reaction awakens the world so people can dismantle their walls, fears, illusions, and resistance to love, and discover that the source of love is always inside themselves and within each and every single one of us. We were born with potential. We were born with goodness and trust. We were born with ideals and dreams. We were born with greatness. We were born with wings. We are not meant for crawling, so don't. We have wings. We must learn how to use them and fly. Rumi. To live as the source of love each day, it is essential that we practice compassion for where people are at in their spiritual path. This is the only way we can live in a truly harmonious world. Simply recognize that we have come from one source, which is love, and we are each on a specific journey to fully realize this source. There is no other journey we are on. Everything is for our awakening process. The loving source is who we already are. Whenever we believe that we just live in the world of duality, of opposing forces, such as hot and cold, night and day, male and female, black and white, etc., look a little deeper. Gaze towards the source where these ideas and experiences are coming from. If your mind goes blank, great. Keep diving. You'll soon discover the multidimensionality found in every breathing moment of this life stems from one perpetual, effortless, loving source. So when we talk about surrender, a lot of people get fearful because they believe they're giving up something. And that is not the case at all. Surrender is surrendering to yourself. There is a paradox. Those who are ready to give in become the winners. The losers are the only winners in this game. Try to win, and your defeat is absolutely certain. It is only a question of time of when, but it is certain it is going to happen. It is wholly because we are one with the whole. We throb with it. We dance with it. We sing with it. We are like a leaf in the wind. The leaf simply dances with the wind. It has no will of its own. The willlessness is what is called sannyas. In other words, what the sutra calls holy. The first thing to be understood is that we have senses, but we have lost sensitivity. We have senses, but we have lost sensitivity. Our senses are almost dull, dead. They are there hanging with us, but energy is not flowing in them. They are not alive limbs of our being. Something has deadened within us, has become cold and blocked. It has happened to the whole of humanity because of thousands of years of repression and thousands of years of conditioning and ideologies which are against the body have crippled us. We live only for name's sake. So the first thing to be done is our senses should become really alive and sensitive. Only then can they be mastered. We see, but we don't see deeply. We see only the surface of things. We touch, but our touch has no warmth. Nothing flows in and out from our touch. We hear also. The birds go on singing. And we hear, and we can say, yes, I'm hearing. And we are not wrong. We are hearing. But it never reaches to the very core of our being. It does not go dancing within us. It doesn't help a flowering and unfolding within us. These senses have to be rejuvenated. Yoga is not against the body. Remember, Tai Chi is not against the body. Qigong is not against the body. Yoga says go beyond the body, but it is not against the body. Yoga says use the body. Don't be used by it, but it is not against the body. Yoga says the body is your temple. You are in the body, and the body is so beautiful an organism, so complex and so subtle, so mysterious, and so many dimensions open through it. And those are the only doors and windows we will reach to existence through. So don't deaden them. Make them more alive. Let them vibrate, pulsate. Let them stream. That is exactly the right word. Let them flow like a stream rushing. You can have the sensation. Your hand, if it is rushing like a stream of energy, you will feel tingling sensation. You will feel something inside the hand is flowing and wants to make contact, wants to be connected. When you love a woman or a man and you take their hand in your hand, if your hand is not streaming, this love is not going to be of any use. If your hand is not jumping and throbbing with energy and pouring energy into your woman or into your man, then this love is almost dead from the very beginning. Then this child is not born alive. And sooner or later, you will be finished. You are already finished. It will take a little time to recognize, because your mind is also dull. Otherwise, you would not enter it, because it is already dead. For what are you entering? You take time to recognize things, but your sensitivity, brilliance, intelligence is so clouded and confused. Only a streaming love can become a source of blissfulness, of joy, of delight. But for that, we will need our senses streaming. Sometimes we have that glimpse also. And everybody had it when they were children. Watch a child running after a butterfly. He's streaming, as if any moment he can jump out of his body. Watch a child when he is looking at a rose flower. See his eyes, the brilliance, the light that comes to his eyes. He is streaming. His eyes are almost dancing on the petals of the flower. This is the way to be. Be river-like. Flow. And only then is it possible to master these senses. In fact, people have had a very wrong attitude. They think that if you want to master your senses, you have to make them almost dead. But then what is the point of mastering? You can kill, and you are the master. You can sit on the corpse, but what is the point of being a master? But this looked easier. First kill them, then you can master. The body feels too strong. Fast, make it weak. And then you start feeling that you are the master. But you have killed the body. Remember, life has to be mastered, not dead things. They will not be of any use. But this has been found to be a shortcut. So all the religions of the world have been using it. Destroy your body by and by. Disconnect yourself from the body. Don't be in contact. Remove yourself. Become indifferent. When your body is almost a dead tree, no longer do leaves come to it. No longer does it flower. No longer do birds come to rest. It is just a dead stump. Of course, we can master it. But now, what are we going to do gain from this mastery? This is the problem. That's why people don't understand the power of cognition. Our eyes see, our ears hear, our feet make connectedness with the earth. That is their power of cognition. Samayama, performing Samayama on their power of cognition. But they have to be powerful. Otherwise, we will not be able to even feel what power is. These senses have to be so full of power, so high with power, that you can perform Samayana, that you can meditate upon them. Right now, when you look at a flower, the flower is there. But have you ever felt your eyes? You see the flower, but have you felt the power of your eyes? It should be there because you're using your eyes to see the flower. And of course, eyes are more beautiful than any flower because all flowers have to come through the eyes. It is through the eyes that you have become aware of the world of flowers. But you have never felt the power of the eyes. They are almost dull, dead. They have become passive, just like windows, receptive. They don't go to their object. And power means being active. Power means your eyes going and almost touching the flower. Your ears going and almost touching the songs of the birds. Your hands going with total energy in you. Focus there. And touching your beloved. Or you're lying down on the grass and your whole body full of power meeting in a contact with the grass, having a dialogue with the grass. Or you are swimming in the river and whispering with the river and listening to the whispers of the river, connected in communion. But power is needed. So the first thing you choose to do is when you see, really see, become the eyes. Forget everything. Let your whole energy flow through the eyes. Your eyes will be cleaned, bathed in an inner shower. And you will be able to see that these trees are no longer the same. The greenery is no longer the same. It has become greener, as if dust has disappeared from it. The dust was not on the trees. The dust was on your eyes. And you will see for the first time. You will hear for the first time. If you have ears, listen. If you have eyes, see. Jesus told that to his disciples. They were not all blind, and they were not all deaf. So what does he mean? He means that you have almost become deaf and almost become blind. You see, yet you don't see. You hear, yet you don't hear. It is not a power. It is not energy. It is not vital. When you perform samayana on your power of cognition, real nature, then you will be able to see. What is the real nature of your senses? It is divine. Your body embodies the divine. It is the divine who has looked through your eyes. Meister Eckhart's famous saying, the day he realized and became enlightened, his friends and disciples and brothers asked, what have you seen? He laughed. He is the only one in the whole of Christianity who comes very close to Zen masters, almost a Zen master. He laughed. He said, I have not seen the divine. It has seen itself through me. The divine has seen itself through me. These eyes are the divines. And what a game. What a play. It has seen itself through me. When we really feel the nature of our senses, we will feel it is divine. It is existence who has moved through our hand. It is existence hand. All hands are its. It is existence who has loved through us. All love affairs are existences. And how can it be otherwise? Hindus call it lila, a play. It is existence who is calling us through the cuckoo. And it is existence who is listening through us. It is it, and it alone spreads all over. Performing samayana on their power of cognition, real nature, egoism, all pervasiveness and functions brings mastery over the sense organs. This word egoism has to be understood because in Sanskrit we have 3 words for the ego, and in English there is only 1 word. That creates difficulty. The Sanskrit word in the sutra is asmita. There are 3 words: ahankar, asmita, atma. All mean I. Ahankar, asmita, atma. All mean I. Anakar can be translated as the ego, the very gross. Too much emphasis on I. For asmita, there is no word in English. Asmita means amness. I am. In ego, the emphasis is on I. In asmita, the emphasis is on am. Amness. And atma. Even amness has disappeared in the ego. I am, and asmita only am, and atma, even that has disappeared. In Atma there is pure being, neither I nor Amness. In this sutra, Asmita is used, Amness. Remember, the ego is of the mind. Senses have no ego. They have a certain amness, but no ego. The ego is of the mind. Our eyes don't have any ego. Our hands don't have any ego. They have a certain amness. That's why if your skin has to be replaced and somebody else's skin is planted on you, your body will reject it because the body knows it is not mine. So your own skin has to be replaced from some other part of the body, from your thighs. Your own skin has to be replaced, otherwise the body will reject. The body will not accept it. It is not mine. The body has no I, but it has an amness. If you need blood, anybody's blood won't do. The body will not accept all sorts of blood, only a particular blood. It has its own amness that will be accepted. Some other blood will be rejected. The body has its own feel of being, of its being. The same with organs. You can't put an organ from another body into the body without the body trying to reject it because it knows it's not mine. Unconsciousness, very subtle and pure, but it is there. Our eyes are ours, just like our thumbprints. Everything yours is yours. Now, physiologists say that everybody's heart is different, of a different shape. In physiology books, the picture that you will find is not a real picture. It is just average. It is just imagined. Otherwise, each person's heart has a different shape. Even each person's kidney has a different shape. These parts all have their signatures. Everybody is so unique. That is the amness. You will never be here again. You have never been before. So move cautiously and alertly and happily. Just think the glory of your being. Just think that you are so superb and unique. Existence has vested much in you. Never imitate, because that will be a betrayal. Be yourself. Let that be your religion. All else is politics. Don't be a Hindu. Don't be a Mohammedan. Don't be a Christian. Be religious. But there is only one religion, and that is just being yourself. Authentically yourself. Performing Sanyama on their power of cognition and real nature. Asmita, the subtle amness, all pervasiveness and functions bring mastery over the sense organs. And if you meditate on these things, you will become a master. Meditation brings mastery. Nothing else brings mastery except meditation. You meditate on your eye. First, you will see the rose flower. By and by, you will be able to see the eye that is seeing. Then you have become a master of the eye. Once you have seen the seeing eye, you have become a master. Now you can use all its energies, and they are all pervasive. Your eyes are not as limited as you think them to be. They can see many more things which you have not seen. They can penetrate many more mysteries that you have not even dreamed about. But you are not master of your eyes, and you have used them in a very haphazard way, not knowing what you are doing. And in contact so much with objects, you have forgotten the subjectivity of your eyes. It happens if you keep company with someone. By and by, you become influenced by them. You have been in contact with objects too much, and you have forgotten the inner quality of your senses. You see things, but you never see your seeing. You hear the songs, but you never hear the subtle vibration that goes on within you, the sound of your being. So I'll tell you an anecdote. I've heard that an extremely confident tramp had enormous nerve. He had just completed a very large meal in a swanky restaurant when he announced to the manager, "My good man, I have really enjoyed your food, but unfortunately I cannot afford to pay for any of it at all. I have not a penny to my name." Now don't get angry. I am by profession a beggar, as you may see. I happen to be an extremely talented beggar too. I can go out and with 1 hour get the money I owe you for this meal. Naturally, though, you cannot trust me to come back. And this I fully understand. You would be most welcome to accompany me. But can a man like you, a well-known restaurant owner, afford to be seen with a man of my caliber? No. So I have, sir, the perfect solution to our little problem. I will wait here. You go out and beg until you have the cost of this meal. If you keep company with a beggar, you will become a beggar. He will suggest in 1,001 ways to you to become like him. We have kept company with objects so long that we have forgotten our subjectivity. We have remained focused outwardly so long on things that we have forgotten that we are persons. This long association with objects has completely destroyed our image of ourselves. We have to come back home. In yoga, when we start seeing our seeing eye, we come across a subtle energy. It is called tamatra. When we can see our eye seeing, just hidden beyond and behind the eyes, you see a tremendous energy. That is tamatra. The energy of the eye, tanmatra. Behind the ear, you see tremendous energy accumulated, tanmatra of the ear. Behind your genital organs, you see tremendous energy accumulated, tanmatra of sexuality, and so on and so forth. Everywhere behind your senses, there is a pool of energy unused. Everywhere behind our senses is a pool of energy unused. Once we know it, we can pour that energy into our eyes, and then we will see visions, which only sometimes poets see, painters see. Then you will hear sounds, which only sometimes musicians hear, poets hear. And then you will touch things which only sometimes in rare moments lovers know how to touch. You will become alive, streaming. Ordinarily, you have been taught to repress your senses, not to know them. It is very foolish, but very convenient. It happened. After a rural wedding, the bride and the groom climbed into the wagon and set out for their farm home. About a mile down the road, the horse stumbled. "That's one," shouted the groom. They continued on, and the horse stumbled again. "That's two," shouted the groom. As they neared the farm, the horse stumbled again. "That's three," shouted the groom, and seizing a gun from behind the seat, put a bullet through the horse's brain. The bride sat aghast. Then, in no uncertain terms, she told her new husband what she thought of his action. He sat quietly until she subsided, then pointed at her and shouted, "That is one." The couple lived happily for 60 years. But that happiness cannot be real happiness. Easy to repress at the point of a gun. But then what sort of love will happen between these two people? The gun will always stand in between, and the wife will always be afraid that now, any moment, he's going to say, "Now this is 2, now this is 3, and finished." That's what we have done with our senses, with our bodies. We have repressed it. But we were helpless. Now, I'm not saying that we are responsible for repressing it. We were brought up in such a way. Nobody allowed our senses freedom. In the name of love, only repression continues. The mothers, the fathers, the society, they go on repressing. By and by, they teach us a trick. And the trick is not to accept ourselves, deny. Everything has to be channeled into conformity. Our wilderness has to be thrown into the dark part of our soul, and a small corner has to be clean, like a drawing room where we can see people, meet people, and live and forget all about our wilder being, our real existence. Our fathers and our mothers are not responsible either, because they were brought up in the same way. So nobody is responsible. But once we know it, and we don't do anything, then, and only then, we become responsible. So once we know it, and we don't do anything, then we become responsible. Being near me, I'm going to make you very, very, very responsible, because you will know it. And then if you don't do anything, then you cannot throw the responsibility on anybody else. Then you are going to be responsible. Now you know about how you have destroyed your senses. And you know also how to revive them. Do something. Throw the gun away completely. The repressive mind completely. Unblock yourself. Start flowing again. Start connecting again with your being. Start connecting with your senses again. We are like a disconnected telephone line. Everything looks perfectly okay. The telephone is there, but the line is disconnected. Our eyes are there. Our hands are there. Our ears are there, but the line is disconnected. Reconnect it. If it can be disconnected, it can be reconnected. Others have disconnected it because they were also taught in the same way. But we can reconnect it. All of my meditations are to give you a streaming energy. They are dynamic methods. Old meditations were just to sit silently and not do anything. I give you active methods because when you are streaming with energy, you can sit silently. That will do. But right now, first you have to become alive. And from this follows instantaneous cognition without the use of the body. Instantaneous cognition without the use of the body, and complete mastery over pradhana, prakriti, the material world. If and when you can see Tanmatras, the subtle energies of our senses, we will become capable of using our cognition without the grosser instruments. If we know that behind the eye there is an accumulated pool of energy, we can close our eyes and use that energy directly. Then we will be able to see without opening our eyes. That's what telepathy, clairvoyance, clairaudience is. In Russia, there is a woman who has been investigated scientifically, who stands just 20 feet away from any object and starts pulling it, just by energy. She makes movements with her hands, 20 feet away. As you have seen a hypnotist making passes, she simply draws gestures. Within 15 minutes, things start moving toward her. She has not touched them. Much investigation has been done about what happens, and that woman loses at least half a pound in weight in a half-hour experiment. Certainly, she is losing some sort of energy. This is what yoga calls tanmatra. Ordinarily, you use the energy through the hand. When you pick something up, a stone, a rock, you carry it. You use the same energy through the hand. But if you know the energy directly, you can drop the use of the hand. The energy can move the object directly in the same way. Telepathy. We all have it. Every one of us. We can hear or read people's thoughts or can see faraway scenes. Once we know the tanmatra, the subtle energy that is being used by our eyes, the eyes can be discarded once we know that it is not really the sense that is functioning, but the energy. We are freed of the sense. I've heard a story. So this guy phoned Cohen and Goldberg, wholesalers. Put me through to Mr. Cohen, please. I'm afraid Mr. Cohen has gone out, sir, said the switchboard girl. Then get me Mr. Goldberg. I'm afraid Mr. Goldberg is tied up at the present, sir. Okay, I will phone back later. 10 minutes later, Mr. Goldberg, please. I'm afraid Mr. Goldberg is still tied up, sir. I will phone back. Half an hour later, get me Mr. Goldberg. I am terribly sorry, sir, but Mr. Goldberg is still tied up. I will phone back. Another half an hour later, Goldberg. I have dreadful news for you, sir. Mr. Goldberg is still tied up. But look, this is ridiculous. How can you run a business like that? One partner is out all morning, the other is tied up for hours on end. What is going on there? Well, you see, sir, whenever Mr. Cohen goes out, he ties up Mr. Goldberg. That is what's happening inside all of us as well. Whenever we go out, through the eyes, through the hands, through our genital organs, through our ears, whenever we go out, continuously, a certain type of bondage and tying is created. By and by, we become tight with the particular sense, eyes, ears, because that is from where we go out, again, again, and again. By and by, we forget the energy that is going out. This getting into bondage with the senses is the whole world, the samsara. How to unite ourselves from the senses. And once we're tied up with the senses, we start thinking in terms of them. We forget ourselves. Another story. A disciple wanted very much to renounce the world, follow his guru. But he said that his wife and family loved him too much, and he was unable to leave his home. The guru came up with a plan. The man was taught certain yogic secrets so that he could give the appearance to all who looked upon his body that he was deceased. The next day, the man followed instructions, and his body was besieged with the wailings and sobbings of his wife and family. The guru appeared at the door in the guise of a magician, told the family that if they loved this man so much, he could bring him back to life. He said that the man would live if someone would die in his place by drinking the potion he had. Each member of the family had an excuse that made it necessary to keep his own life. And the wife added, "Anyway, he is already dead. We will manage." At this, the yogi stood up and said, "Woman, if you can live without me, then I can go with my guru." He faced the teacher and said, "Let's go, sir, Reverend Master. I will follow you." The whole attachment to the senses is as if we are the senses, as if we cannot live without them, as if our whole lives are confined to them. But we are not confined to them. We can renounce them, and we can still live, and live on a higher plane. Difficult? Just as if you want to persuade a seed, die and soon a beautiful plant will be born, how could he believe because he will be dead? No seed has ever known that by his death a new sprout comes up, a new life arises. So how to believe it? Or if you go near an egg and you want to persuade the bird within, come out, but how is the bird to believe that there is any possibility of life without the egg? Or if you talk to a child inside the womb of a mother and tell him, "Come out, don't be afraid," but he knows nothing outside the womb. The womb has been his whole life. He knows only that. He is afraid. The same is the situation. Surrounded by the senses, we live in a sort of confinement and imprisonment. One has to be a little darling, courageous, right now, wherever you are, and whatsoever you are. Nothing is happening to you. Then take the risk. Then move into the unknown. Then try to find a new way of life. From this follows instantaneous cognition without the use of the body, and complete mastery over Prakriti, the material world. Up to now, we have been possessed by the material world. Once we know that we have our own energy, totally independent from the material world, we become masters. No longer does the world possess us. We possess it. Only those who renounce become the real masters. I'll join you in the meditation, and I'll return to close us out. Take a slow and easy breath in through the nose and a slow and easy breath out through the mouth. Remain still. This universe is our playground. We can be whomever we choose to be. There are no rules on who we can or cannot be. So who do we want to be today? And what thoughts and beliefs do we most want to have that will take our lives in this new direction? Create an inner map for yourself, a guide that arrives at your ideal future state of mind. Start by exploring what thoughts you like to think about and write them down. What does your favorite teacher or master usually say? Think about or focus on. What will it feel like to others to be around you when you are in this new state of mind? Randomly ask yourself several times today, what am I thinking? Is this thought creating who I want to become? And remember, the pools of energy that we have for so long forgotten that we actually have. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, and into the following morning. We will return here Friday, November 18th, 2022, 3 p.m. Eastern to continue our global guided meditation call, and 9 p.m. Eastern to continue our reverse aging health